Welcome to the New Normal Podcast, a place where we give the everyday individual a voice. Today, I have Alex, the attorney, with me, and we're going to talk about proper courtroom etiquette. The reason that we're having this conversation because I seen him make a post about not coming to court smelling like weed. You would think as adults with your life on the line or whatever is going on in the courtroom, if it's just paying a fine, you would want to put your best foot forward because we know you don't want to have to come out of pocket. You don't have to go sit down for a minute. And I was just weird and baffled. It was just weird to me, and I was baffled that so many people would not understand about putting your best foot forward. Alex, if you want to introduce yourself, tell the people where they can find your social media handles and stuff like that.
My name is Alex Mitchell. I'm an attorney here in Atlanta, Georgia. My social media is Alex the Attorney. We also have another one, Cumberland Law Atlanta. That's the business page, but pretty much what we do here is we do criminal defense, personal injury, and tax law. About 85% of my practice is tax law. The rest is criminal defense and personal injury.
Tax law, like when y'all represent people with a tax law, what's the most common thing y'all have to represent with people like tax evasion? Is it gonna be like some Lauren Hill type stuff?
I've had a couple cases like that, and that's in the criminal side. So there's actually two sides to tax. There's the criminal side, which you normally hear about. You got your Wesley Snipes, more recently Todd Chrisley, and Lauren Hill, and then you
Okay.
have your civil side. These are people who may have misreported, false reported, or even tried to commit fraud, got caught, and didn't even like fight it. So what we pretty much do is if you owe the IRS, there are several options that you have now with the pretty sure you guys hear it on the radio, the little Fresh Start initiative. So we primarily handle those cases, getting things set up. If there's a challenge, we're able to go into court. That's the difference between us and Optima Tax Solutions or any other um, tax firm that doesn't have attorneys. There's literally a tax court. It happens about 4 times a year, and so we have the ability to go in court and file petitions and do things like that. And so usually when you owe a balance, you'll get several notices about, you owe this much amount of money. Anytime they can seize or levy your account, but they typically don't. So what we do is we work with the IRS, either get, your balance reduced or work out a payment plan for you.
So when people have tax issues, do you think they are trying to like defraud the tax system, or is it basically like they let somebody else do it and the person they like asked to do their taxes try to defraud so they can get money, or is it just a simple mistake sometimes?
It's a combination of all of that. Some are self-prepared taxes and they just don't know what they're doing. They go through TurboTax.
Hmm.
Sometimes TurboTax gets it wrong, and they don't know. But the end of the line, I mean, but the end of the day, you do have to you sign that tax return. So
Hmm.
doesn't matter who did it, or you can cast blame. You're still going to be held financially responsible. You may not be held criminally responsible,
Hmm.
but financial wise, you still will be held responsible. So yeah, we get all kinds. I mean, tax preparers trying to claim the earned income tax credit when the person ain't got no kids and they didn't know. Flat out tax fraud. Making up EINs or LLCs. That's what a lot of people are getting caught now with the PPP loan. They pretty much formed a fraudulent business in order to get the loan, and then
Oh, okay. So
and then spent the
how many
money.
PPP loan cases you've done so far? You done a lot of them? Y'all firm done a lot of them yet?
Absolutely zero.
Okay.
The ones I've done tax evasion, um, tax fraud, but nothing PPP wise. I mean, most of the time, the people who have been caught with PPP loans don't really have the money to pay for an adequate defense.
Hmm.
Um, so usually we tell our clients, if they're in the criminal realm,
Yeah.
we would, there's a 98% chance that you're gonna get convicted. I mean, tax is so black and white.
Yeah.
Because either that's your signature or that's not. Either this is your return or it's not. So it's very little wiggle room. So most of the time it's your negotiations or trial. I mean, you can beat a tax trial, but it's hard to do. Um, but yeah, no PPP loans. Um, I have recently been getting a lot of OnlyFans models calling.
What?
Yeah, I mean it's weird. So if you didn't know, OnlyFans is based in the United Kingdom, and Uncle Sam wants their cut.
Okay.
So to they can't get the OnlyFans as a corporation, so they're trying to go after the content creators
Oh, okay.
to get to the corporation. So it's not anything the content creators are doing wrong,
Mhm.
unless they file fraudulent taxes. But that's not even what they're trying to address. They're trying to figure out what about OnlyFans and how are they able to conceal the fees that they collect from these content creators without paying taxes.
So basically, the company is taking a cut out of the creators, but they not paying the taxes on it. So
Right, because OnlyFans is UK based. So it's kind of getting into the weeds of things right now because technically they're not in the United States. They
mhm,
don't have a hub. They don't have anything here, you
mhm.
know. But the internet is in the United States, so they're using the internet as interstate commerce to have these content creators create their platform,
Okay,
make money on it. They take their percentage off the top and escape paying taxes on it.
okay. Man, that's crazy. So how do the OnlyFans like content creators like the IRS is coming to them and asking them to pay a percentage, or they trying to get like see like they like documentation, I guess, for OnlyFans, like they statements every month or something like that, or how is that?
The IRS is not coming after them as far as trying to collect payments. What they're trying
Okay,
to do is get them to testify as to how they make their money and how much OnlyFans get from the money that they make as content creators.
okay, okay.
But just like anybody else, I mean, you see someone show up at your door with a subpoena. Hey, we need you to come testify in this state about your dealings on OnlyFans. You get kind of scared. So
Mhm.
um, that's the new thing. They've been doing it about a year now, so we've been getting called steady about content creators from all walks of life wanting to have some kind of guidance on how to go about this.
Mhm. Well,
So
that's crazy. That hey, if you actually get to talking to somebody that does OnlyFans, I would like to do an interview with some OnlyFans models coming up. So I don't know any per se that well, I know one, and she got to me jumping through red tape, talking to managers and stuff. And I'm thinking like in my mind, I thought pimping was dead pretty much because it feels like that's kind of the thing. Like she is a pimp and she does OnlyFans. So I thought OnlyFans was supposed to get rid of all the, that. But the more and more I get into it and start doing research, it seems like a lot of people who have like big OnlyFans accounts, they have like a manager or somebody like a team. Like so I've seen they have companies now that manage multiple like companies that manage multiple OnlyFans girls. So basically it's going back to like how the porn industry is. It's just going to OnlyFans. It's wild to me.
yeah, it's like a talent agency that they have now. I mean,
Yeah,
you're managing OnlyFans content creators who do what. I mean, I think most everybody here know what the majority of them are doing on there.
right.
But you do have some on there that do other things and things of that nature, non-X-rated things, things like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a rabbit hole that I don't even want to go down at this moment
Yeah.
because it's a lot of dealings, just dealing with OnlyFans models on the semi-criminal side and semi-civil side dealing with subpoenas. I mean, I understand your frustration. It's like
Hmm.
you jump through one hurdle, then you get through another one, and it just keeps on going.
From talking to these girls, the OnlyFans girls that come to you, you think they're making a lot of money
Um,
for what they do? Do you think it's worth it?
I'll say this: I am an investigator,
Okay.
so um, we get a call in or something like that. I pretty much go do my research before.
Okay.
No, I'm not subscribing to their pages or anything like that, or donating. But it just looks weird when it comes across the desk. And hey, this person called. They're saying they're OnlyFans model, and they, the IRS is after them. The few that I can think of, I think they made decent amount of money. I think it's definitely seven figures total. So they've crossed the seven-figure mark.
Okay. Hey,
So
that's
yeah.
good now.
So, but I think OnlyFans take about 20%. So you're looking at about $800,000 that
Yeah.
you're coming back with, and then if you see, these are your, I mean, that's just a content creator that I didn't even know until they called into the office. So just imagine that
Hmm.
with the thousands of content creators, how much money Uncle Sam is missing out on, and
Oh,
that's why they want to find out how OnlyFans is doing this and being able to get away with it.
dang. Growing up, I used to hear paying taxes is illegal. Is paying taxes illegal? Do you think it's like extortion, like the mob and stuff like that? How do you feel about it? Do you think we need to pay taxes, or what you think?
Absolutely. I mean, it's so much stuff that people don't know that their tax money goes to
Hmm.
that they don't even think of. I mean, it goes to roads, it goes to schools. Um, I'm not a fan of being taxed without having say so where my money goes.
Okay.
So I don't mind being taxed, and the current tax bracket I'm in is a little bit too high for me, but it is what it is at this point.
Right.
Um, but I
Gotta
don't mind being
take the
taxed.
good with the bad at this point, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind being taxed. I think people who are on the political side that taxation is theft are out of their mind.
Hmm.
Because the same people who scream that or yelled at as a battle cry, as soon as a natural disaster hit, who the first person they going to? FEMA.
Right.
That's our tax dollars.
Okay.
Um, I personally don't like my money going overseas, but you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
So, I just think of like people who say, the taxation is theft. I'm not paying taxes. You cannot pay taxes, 100%. But if you are a W-2 employee, your W-2 is going to the IRS.
Right.
And what the IRS will do if you don't file taxes is they will file what's called a substituted return.
Hmm.
And they would just base it off your W-2, no deductions, highest tax rate possible. And then you would start getting notices. So the only I wouldn't say the only way to avoid it, but the only way you could possibly get away with is you're not making enough money to file or you're 1099. But eventually that stuff is going to catch up to you because businesses, if you're operating legitly, will start sending you 1099s at the end of the year. I mean, I get 1099s every year from cases I've settled.
Okay.
So, you know, they know I make money. So let me just go ahead and be upfront with them and tell them how much I make and, take my expenses as much as I can get and then move on and pay them whatever I owe.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I do pretty much for the most part believe in taxes of some sort.
So how often do these tax cases go to court? How often, even your criminal cases, how often do they go to court? How often are they settled outside of court?
Um, about 90% of our cases are resolved prior to us even filing a tax court petition or
Okay.
prior to it going to the DOJ, the Department of Justice. Um, I've had, criminal case where client we represented, allegedly stole, somewhere north of $2 million
Dang.
in a tax fraud scheme, and we were
So
able.
before you go any further, when people have like tax fraud schemes, are they like when you looking over the case and you it's in front of you, it's like, did they really think they was gonna get away with this, or have you looked at something like, this is pretty smart the way they doing this? How do you typically view the stuff when it comes to your desk when you see it?
It depends on the client. I mean, I've looked at some like, what were you thinking?
Yeah,
Um, and then I've looked at some like, that's pretty damn smart.
yeah,
I mean, it sucks that you got caught, but I mean, but usually, and I'm not encouraging anyone to defraud or attempt to defraud the government.
yeah.
Um, but usually, those tax fraud schemes usually goes in with creating, fake returns and fake 1180s or fake 941s, which is your work documents if you're like self-employed and things of that nature. Um, and you do have clients that call and ask you to try to commit fraud with them. I'm like, get off my phone.
So they'll call
um,
you the lawyer to ask you to help them commit fraud too?
yeah, I've had that happen before. I've had a client call in and say, of course, this is during the pandemic. How are
Mhm.
you? How do you get the PPP loan? I explained to them what they do. They was like, well, I don't have a business, but I can get 1099s. I was like, get off my phone. Like, you try to go to jail and you
Right.
try to take me down with
Take
you.
you to
Like,
jail too. Yeah, you don't want none of that.
right. No, like, get off my phone with that, please. So, to this day, I, I don't know if that client has got caught or not, or a potential client. I'm not saying anything that they did or didn't do, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Um, but you get, and then you get some people who just ask genuine questions that they may not know that's illegal.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to tell them, hey, you can't do that. That's illegal.
I when you say people asking questions that are illegal, but they don't understand, why don't you think like maybe in high school they teach more about the legalities of our government and the questions you can ask if you was going to an attorney, things that you can do? Why don't you think that the reason they don't teach us more about like the legal aspect in high school or earlier in our, school career?
I think it's
Do you think it should be
curriculum.
taught more?
Um, I think there should be. I think class. I think because we get a civics lesson. If
Mhm.
I mean, I've been out of school almost 17, 18 years, 19 years now.
Bro, we
Shoot.
old, bro.
Yeah. Um. So I remember having a civics course, and I
Mhm.
remember going over the Bill of Rights. I
Mhm.
remember, reciting the preamble, all that good stuff. I think it was either seventh and 11th grade or seventh and 10th grade, something like that.
Mhm.
But what I think the schools would be more beneficial to students is focusing on their rights because there's so much confusion out here, and that leads to the division in our political views.
Okay.
Um,
What you mean when you say rights?
just simple rights. We can go down the list. First Amendment, right? Freedom of speech.
Mhm.
Your right to freedom of speech does not mean you're not free of consequences. If
Okay.
I say something to you that's disrespectful and you punch me in my mouth, I can't go and say freedom of speech.
Right.
Or if I say something that's threatening to you and you respond accordingly, I can't go yell freedom of speech.
Right.
You know,
Because you
just
can't just go
basic.
out here and threaten people, and people can't sue you for it or feel threatened or put restraining orders and stuff like that against you. You know.
Yeah, and those are extreme examples, but the more logical example is you working for someone and you say something and that's whether they agree with it or not or out of line like that,
Mhm.
and they cut ties with you. Like you have the right to say that, but you don't have the right to be free of those consequences.
So if I'm let's say if I'm employed somewhere,
Hmm.
and let's say we have an election, and let's say my employer is a Trump supporter and I'm a Biden supporter, and they we're talking about politics one day, and I'm have my freedom of speech, but my boss doesn't like my view on politics, and they fire me. Can they do that?
Um, it gets in a little that's a little weedy area. And the
Mhm.
reason why I say this is, your Title 7, I think that's what it is. As a employer, depends on if that employer is public or private. So
Mhm.
normally public is, your governmental agencies and things of that nature. They
Okay.
can't fire you because of your political affiliation.
Okay.
Um, Private, I mean, they can fire you for anything except for race, gender, national origin or things of that nature. But
Okay.
now politics is starting to weed into that area. But they can't just fire you just because you're a Trump supporter. What
Mhm.
they normally would do, or a Biden supporter, or a Clinton supporter, whoever you support, it doesn't matter. Normally, what they do is they will mask it somewhere in their code as a violation of the guidelines or whatever they gave to you to go by.
Mhm.
If you look at if you look in most standard operating procedures for jobs, they usually have like a catch-all in there that says, anything that we deem to be immoral or moral conduct. So usually they go under that, and that's a catch-all that protects them from being sued for something like that.
Mm.
Um, but if you catch them red-handed, it's it's a good chance you could sue, but the chance it's such a murky gray area, and that's even murkier than race.
Mhm.
Race is already hard to prove, um, because society, especially where we are in the South, I mean, they don't even know their own microaggressions that are racism.
Mhm.
So it's hard for a black male or a black female or anybody that's a minority to prove racism without N-word or any derogatory comments or racist comments.
Mhm.
But we all know as people of color what racism is. We know what it is. We know how it's felt and things of that nature. So that's the balancing test that we have here, because you got to think about it. I mean, we're going in front of a white judge, probably 75% all white jury. Their attorney's going to be white. Your attorney might be white. I mean, it's not that many of us black attorneys in America. It's only 4%. Um,
Ah, that's a small number. I would think it'd be more.
Now it's about 4% of us.
Okay.
Um, I don't know the exact number, but it's um,
I got you.
yes, you
4% still
represent a
small.
small. Yeah. So it's hard to connect with the jury when you look in the jury and nobody looks like
Yeah.
you. That, and that piggybacks into any realm, criminal or civil.
Yeah.
Trying to get people to pay money or trying to get somebody out of jail. I mean, jurors are the most stingiest people in the world.
Yeah.
And that's just how we have evolved as a society. We have just become more, I'm not gonna say self-centered, but more selfish. And unable to empathize in my opinion.
So, do you think the court system and the things that's going on with the judges, let's say being white, jury might being white, your attorney might being white, you think it's still very racist when it comes to like the court system and stuff like that?
Um,
Or
it
is it
depends on where you're at. So I'm in Atlanta.
okay?
So even if I do go in front of a white judge, more than likely my prosecutor who I'm going against is black if I'm in
Mhm.
Fulton or the cab, and they may be white if I'm in Gwinnett or somewhere like that. But they're not um not I'm not gonna say racism is persistent now, but there are still pillars of racism that still exist in the courtroom in a
Mhm.
criminal matter. I
Okay.
mean, you go into a court. I mean, I've been into rural counties here in Georgia. population may be 15% black, you go to court, everybody in there is black.
Mm-hmm.
All the defendants, like you may have a couple white people or other minorities, but the majority of them is black. So that's the institutional racism that so many people have talked about. Like,
Mm.
why are
'Cause I
it?
seen a report that was saying that I think it was New York that they was talking about the demographics of New York, but how most of your traffic stops were geared towards black and brown people. And I'm like, that's crazy. And it was like, for like marijuana charge, they was like, well, we know white people do marijuana just as much as black people, but most of your marijuana charges and people they were stopping for marijuana was black and Hispanic people. You know, your typical traffic stops, how black people only make up like what 13, 14% of the population, but get stopped more than white people. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, when you are susceptible to having um, increased police interactions, the chances are that you're going to be charged with some crime, whether it's small or big. I mean, you know, most of the I would say prior to probably 2018, 2019, most of your charges here that I was doing was marijuana charges,
Hmm.
but they got rid of marijuana in Atlanta. It's still still against the law in the state of Georgia, but they're not prosecuting you. They're just giving you a ticket till you get on about your day.
Yeah.
But you go outside the county, or outside the perimeter, as we call it here, the metro area. I mean, they're tagging everybody. Or the new thing is they're saying everybody's on meth and
Oh,
or
okay.
crack or I think there was a story here in Cobb County where I reside, where my office is located, of a young lady that was pulled over and she had cotton candy on her. They took the cotton candy, ran it through a test, said it was meth. She ended up in jail for 30 days. Come to find out, it was cotton candy.
How
Um,
you run a test on cotton candy and it come back meth though? Was they trying? Is they lying or what?
so no, so it's one of those. It's the test is just very defective. So
Okay.
it's kind of like a breathalyzer. If you get pulled over for DUI, in very defective product, but everybody swears that it works. And now they use it to say, well, it only detects alcohol. I mean, I can eat a mint and probably get popped for DUI if I actually go blowing a breathalyzer right
Yeah,
now.
because I was seeing something about breathalyzer that they said they supposed to calibrate them a certain amount of times, or I forgot how many times they're supposed to calibrate them, but they was like the officers don't even calibrate them properly for them to be effective enough.
Oh no, they definitely don't calibrate them. They don't keep up and maintain them. But going back to the cotton candy, like they have this little drug kit that
Mhm.
all the officers keeps on them. I think I think in 2018, 2019, they said, these drug kits are defective. Do not
Okay.
use these drug kits. So this happened in 2020. So it was after they had already been, put on notice that, hey, these kits are not reliable. Everything's coming up as meth, even when it's not meth. And so the officer pulled over, took out the car, they used the drug kit, and boom, you get hit with a meth charge.
Hmm.
And then the officer doesn't know any better. The officer doesn't, the officer is not going to sit there and taste the cotton candy. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everybody's seen that video with the officer who was exposed to, was it meth? I think she was exposed and she OD'd. No, fentanyl,
Hmm.
and she touched it and OD'd right down the side of the road, and they had to bring her back with Narcan. So,
Dang, I
uh,
ain't know that. Is fentanyl that crack that strong? Just
oh
touching
yeah,
it,
yeah,
bro. I ain't.
it,
I did not know that. I know people dropping
it
like
absorbs
flies.
in your skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for you, man. So I just think the institution itself is still racist.
Hmm.
There's definitely some cities that are trying to be more progressive. If that's a trigger word for any of your followers, any people that are on today,
Nah, we ain't
I
got to. You ain't got to
apologize.
give it. You ain't got to give
But
a disclaimer on here, bro.
the the root word of progressive is progress. So,
Yeah.
uh, so you have those cities that still um, those institutions and those pillars of racism are still deeply embedded in our court system. That it doesn't matter if my prosecutor is white or black. It doesn't matter if my defendant is black or white, or
Yeah.
well, it does matter if my defendant is white. I get very few defendants that are white, but it doesn't matter that the judge is black or white. What matters is the prosecution knows they have the upper hand
Yeah.
because, like it or not, we've all been conditioned to when we're in a courtroom, that person is automatically guilty, and he has
You
to
think
prove
so?
himself innocent. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I, th- I mean, it's ingrained in us. I mean, we've seen it in on TV. Cops. Things of that nature that we watch this stuff and we have consumed it over these years, and now we
Mhm.
have a generation of people who are self-aware. But if they're only self-aware if the circumstances apply to them.
Yeah.
I mean, so and then that's not even factoring in racism. So well, that's not even just me and you are in court. Let's say that me and you are in court, and we see a guy walk in. We immediately identify him by what he is. If he walks in chains up, I mean that's a trigger right there that may be a criminal.
So with that idea, I understand what you're saying. The way they bringing him in, the way he looks, he's chained up, he just looks guilty. Do you think if a person is on trial and he's being presented to the court and defending maybe his freedom, do you think they should bring him in a certain type of way? Like maybe not chained up, maybe
Well,
he should have a
well,
suit.
I would say this: they normally don't do it in trial,
Okay,
but our natural instinct is that this is a defendant, so he
okay,
must have done something.
I got you.
So if they can find something that they've done, they will, juries will convict. I mean, and that's why I think that the odds are so stacked against the defense, even though we supposed to have the presumption of innocence.
Yeah, because TL just said jury duty in our society today, the only people that actually hold on, I'm gonna put it on here that actually going to do it are Karens and are real critical type people. I always find a way out of jury duty, so I can only imagine the type of people. Do you think it's a certain type of people that want to do jury duty? Or, make if they have it, they make sure they want to do it to be in the courtroom or something like that?
There are some people who feel that there's their obligation to do jury duty.
Hmm.
Um, I'm actually getting ready to do jury duty myself.
Yeah.
First time at the end of the month, first time ever in my life. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get kicked off, but um, it'll be a fun process. So I would say to TL, I mean, if you're trying to get out of it, then you're not being a part of the solution. You're being part of the problem. I
Mhm.
know it sucks. You don't get paid much, but it needs to be done because you can't be angry with your Eric Gardner's and Trayvon Martin verdicts if you're trying to get out of jury duty.
Yeah. The
Um,
thing is, you know what makes sense? Why wouldn't you have a jury full of lawyers that people that already know the law instead of your everyday Joe Smo that's out there walking the street that don't even understand how law works? When I've watched too many cases and they show the jury and the jury's falling asleep.
I mean, I would be falling asleep. I'd be, it's not
TL said he agree with you.
it's not an entertaining process. It's pretty boring. To go
Yeah.
and sit and go through a jury selection, then you get picked, then you get sit for trial, then you have to listen to these lawyers argue, and who knows what the case can be. Most of the time, yeah, I mean, I've only known one person who has sat in on a murder trial.
Mhm.
One of my good friends from college, she recently did it. And I was like, that sucks that a murder trial is your first time doing jury duty. Um, but I mean, jurors are just they're average normal people. So you don't I understand that people want to it's not necessarily knowing the law and applying the law. That's our job as lawyers. We're supposed to argue the law and get you to see our point of view. But I think having normal people in there would be more logical because they can actually think through certain things. Now, when I say normal people, I'm not talking about your racist people, your people without a who has a hidden agenda, things of that nature. I'm saying, you know, a good jury is always a good juror is a blank slate.
Okay.
That's what we say in lawyer talks. And when it's a blank slate, that means we can paint and write whatever we want to on them to get them to see our view.
Are people really a blank slate coming into court nowadays with the invention of social media? Let's say a young thug trial. How much publicity that's around a young thug's trial and a jury that's coming in there and they're doing jury selection? Are people really a blank slate?
No, but the thing there's always this question that the judge is required to ask, if you have some kind of implicit bias or things of that nature, and that is, are you willing to sit aside that bias?
Mm-hmm.
And some say no, some say yes. I think with those highly publicized trials, you can't do you can't you're not shielded away from it. You know what's going on. Whether you like it or not, you know what's going on. But what they do is what they call sequestering a jury.
Mm-hmm.
So a sequestering a jury is pretty much you isolate that jury from the public during the trial.
Okay.
They you pretty much turn into not gonna say roommates, but all you guys are staying at the same hotel. You're going in. You can't talk any of your family members about the case or anything. You probably won't be home, depending on the duration of the trial, things of that nature. But with those high profile trials, they're few and far in between. But those are your special exceptions. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's gonna know kind of the gist of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Ahmaud Arbery trial that was in um, Far East Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew what was going on.
Right.
So you may have some preconceived notions
Yeah.
going in, but if the evidence doesn't match those notions, then you have to be able to sit your bias aside and make a guilty or not guilty verdict. That's what they tell you to do. But let's be real. People,
You're
they're gonna do
human.
what they want to do.
Yeah. You're human. And that's the
Yes.
thing. I think a lot of people want to believe that when you're going into court, it's a blank slate. But you got to understand the judge is a human, the jury's a human, your lawyers are human, the people that's sitting out there in the crowd, observing how even people right in the media today, when you see headlines come across your phone about certain trials to have you feeling a certain type of way about a certain person, or if it's like people who have an agenda with the like believe all women or the Me Too movement, you have those type of things that's geared to make people feel a certain type of way about a certain person or trial or something like that. So sometimes people got to realize that people have their own agendas and things that they're trying to push as well, and we're all human. People going to feel a certain type of way. They know they can evoke a certain type of emotion, especially like maybe a domestic violence case. Like, how did you feel about Meg and Tory Lane's case?
So the criminal defense attorney in me,
Okay,
um, there's three things I want to get across to make sure that I'm not stepping on nobody's toes or trying to diminish what happened. We
okay.
know Megan got shot.
We are nobody's denying it.
Nobody's denying it. So let's get that out the way. We also know that Tory and Kelsey both had gun residue on them.
Both, yes,
Both. We also know that there was a fight before.
with Kelsey and Megan.
Right.
Right.
So if you looked at Meg the Stallion, her name is Megan the Stallion for a reason. She's tall. She's
Hmm.
big. And what I don't think that Tory necessarily shot her.
Hmm.
Um, he may have had something to do with it, and I think my version of events will probably make more sense because what I think happened is I think Meg with both of them.
You think so?
Yeah, just think about this. Think about this logically. Okay,
Okay. I gotta hear this. I ain't heard this one.
I'm a guy.
Okay.
Tory Lanez, what is he like 5'2", maybe
I
125
think he said he's
pounds?
5'5".
Anyway, 5'5", 120, 140 pounds, whatever.
Small guy, yeah.
Yeah. So we all know what happens in situations like that happen. If
Mhm.
you are a guy and you're having sex with one person and then you turn around and have sex with her best friend, they
Yeah.
find out, what's their natural reaction? I'm gonna ask you that. What's their natural reaction?
They gonna want to fight. What happened? I think
Okay. And who do they fight? Do they fight each other or do they fight the guy?
typically I seen a lot of women fight each other.
Okay. Bam. Now we on the same road. Okay,
Okay.
so that's what I think would happen. They fought each other. Meg got the best of Kelsey.
Okay.
Tori tried to jump in, break it up. Meg probably hit him too.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even doubt it. She
Okay.
probably hit him too. So they probably got the gun. They probably the fight got broken up. Meg is walking away, and Kelsey probably pulled out that gun. And when
Mhm.
Kelsey pulled out that gun, Tori probably tried to grab it and wrestle away from it, and that's when
Mhm.
you hear the shots.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to say that he intentionally pointed that gun at her, said "dance, bitch," and then shot.
Well, yeah,
Like that.
they proved
That
that
just doesn't
wasn't.
make sense.
Yeah, that don't make sense at all. Like a lot
And
of
I
go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
and I was gonna say I truly believe that Meg believes that he shot her. Because
I no, I do too, and that's the crazy part. I don't think she was being malicious when
no,
she said that. I think she was drunk too. Like you gotta remember, this
yeah,
whole night is alcohol induced.
yeah. I mean, yeah, they said she was drunk. I mean, they said she was drunk. They said she gets a little wild when she drunk. But you
And
gotta
this
think
is,
about
and you
it,
got to think about it. She is known for driving the boat, so
right?
yeah,
And I think Megan is bigger than both of them.
yeah, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, Meg the Stallion's 5'10". Like, what Tori's gonna do with that, man?
You're right. Look, I agree.
Like,
I agree with you on this part.
what Tori and Kelsey gonna do with that, man? They couldn't handle that woman. And then you
I
gotta
think
think of
I think she 5'2", Kelsey 5'2".
right. And I mean, just think about it logically. Like I wholeheartedly 100% believe Meg the Stallion got hands.
You think so?
Heck yeah, she got hands, bro. So I'm not gonna even doubt her. I think she whooped both of them.
Okay.
I think they couldn't handle her. She probably whooped Kelsey first. Tori tried to jump in, break it up. Bodyguard tried to jump in, break it up, and Tori ate some shots too. And
That.
so I mean that's
So
what my
how you feel about Kelsey getting immunity then? If they knew that she had gunpowder residue, and it was crazy that they didn't even take her try to match her DNA to the gun because from what I heard was the forensic scientist said there was woman DNA on it, but they didn't test her DNA.
yeah. Well, you got to think about where you're at. You're
Mhm,
in California, a very liberal state.
mhm.
Um,
Does that play a part in a lot of trials too?
yeah, yeah. Venue
Okay.
matters.
Okay.
So venue definitely matters. Like I would love to have a civil car accident case in Fulton County or DeKalb County.
Okay.
Black juries pay out more than white juries.
Oh, they do?
That's just yeah, that's across the board. It doesn't even matter who's the defendant or not. Black people are more
Oh,
sympathetic to people who are hurt in certain situations.
did
So
not know that.
so venue definitely matters. I think Tory got a bad break. I'm not saying he's innocent.
Mhm.
Uh I just didn't think it was enough evidence there for him to be found guilty because you have to come to your head to believe the ending of what happened. And that just sounds too funny to me that this man, all of 5'5", points a gun at her and say dance bitch.
Yeah.
Like
It
it,
just
it,
doesn't
it
make sense.
yeah, it's like who thinks of that come to their head? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, but Tory violent past is probably what did him in. Like
Yeah. But see,
fighting
my thing
August
is,
Alsina.
I wouldn't even have a problem with the Tory Lanez getting convicted if a Kelsey got convicted as well. See, then
Well,
it's
see,
like, go ahead. What you gonna say?
there's something called prosecutorial discretion. So they
Okay.
may have felt that they didn't have a case without Kelsey cooperating. And
Is that fair though? If both of if you're convicting me on something that Kelsey has the same thing on, and we know that they got into a physical fight, is that fair?
well, let me clarify this.
Okay.
Kelsey did not get immunity from prosecution.
Okay.
She got immunity from her testimony at the trial. So what
Okay.
that means is what she testified to at the trial, they could not use that against her in that case. But
Okay.
they can use it against her if they think she committed perjury or lying under oath.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
So let's get that straight. So she can still be investigated for it, but prosecutorial discretion is, I can, I can choose, the state can choose who and what they want to prosecute.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it sucks because there's a lot of questions that really um go unanswered when you have such a gray and muddied up trial,
Mm-hmm.
like that one was. Um, but only three people really know what happened that night.
Right.
One's in jail, you know, one's moved on with her life and dating somebody else, and one's been essentially ostracized from the community because they think that she took money from Tory Lanez.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's something that they have to live with. But 100% Meg is the victim in the case. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that she deserved to get shot or she's lying, but when you go on camera and try to profit off your own hurt or healing or things of that nature,
Come
you
on,
do an
Gail
interview.
King.
Yeah, you do an interview with Gail King. You didn't
Yeah.
think that wasn't going to be played in court and everybody's going to find out that you and him was having sex. Like, come on.
Right. And my thing is, you made it look even more. You hurt your case by lying about the sex because like I said, we know that typically, and I say this a lot, typically women are going to be abused more if they're from domestic violence relationships, right? So you having sex with Tory Lanez is not a thing, or you should not have lied about it as if that's going to weigh against him shooting you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we understand that typically if a woman is in a relationship with a man, domestic violence is typically where a woman gets hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
If I'm wording that correctly.
Yeah, I get the gist of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, I would say she lied for to not be shamed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's kind
But
of
she,
like what
but she even
it's
lied. She even lied that night about even getting to fight too.
yeah. I mean, it's to be honest. When you are as drunk as they say she is, because they said part of weed was falling out. There's
Mhm.
there's no telling what you don't remember and
Right.
do remember. Like there's we've all, I mean, we're all old now. We've all had nights in college or things of that nature where we have lost complete spans of time.
Right.
So there's no telling what she actually remembers, but there's also no reason to lie. I mean, I think that's something that her publicist and all that probably pressure her to do because
That was
it
horrible.
may it it's the victimization, the victimhood. Uh, if I can be more sympathetic and I can be more show that I'm the true victim,
Mhm.
it sells more,
Right.
and it's unfortunate that she had to have her business aired out that way, but you had to have known that this was gonna come up
Right.
because
I think they did Gail King. I think she did Gail King because I don't think she really thought Tori was gonna take it all the way to trial. What do you think?
I well, one Tory is a Canadian citizen, so he was facing deportation. So I don't know why she would even think that he wouldn't go to trial because anything he pleads to is going to be
Yeah.
a felony. So
Oh,
he's going to be deported.
right.
Um, so I don't know why she thought that. I think she honestly believed that it wasn't going to get out.
Mm,
And the thing about trials are they're public records. I mean,
yeah.
except for your juvenile trials. anybody can go in there and sit down and listen to what's going on. I mean, I've even sat down and I sat in on Cardi B trial here in Atlanta.
Mm.
So
What trial was
uh,
that?
the one with her and Tasha K for defamation.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. How was that?
Um, I mean, I was down there for for a trial of my own, so I wasn't really too much paying attention.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. I mean, they were in there and they were arguing. She actually spoke to me downstairs. I guess she thought I was a member of the press. I
Yeah.
was like, nah. I was like, I had a trial upstairs, and we only had an hour break. Um, so I
My
was
Cardi
like,
B?
instead of me, yeah,
Okay.
I was like, instead of me going home, I just walked down to the next courtroom.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was like, "Oh, okay," because there was a lot of people in there for the media. You could tell who they were. They was in there with the notepads. There,
Yeah.
and then in federal courthouses, you're not allowed to have your phone unless you're an attorney. So me whipping out my phone is a dead giveaway that I'm an attorney.
Right.
Um, so yeah, so I mean, it was interesting. I think in her case, she got exactly what she deserved. Like she got the justice she deserved. I mean, people have to be careful. That goes circle back to what we first started with is that freedom of speech doesn't mean you're free of consequence.
Right. I
You
agree.
know, yeah. Tasha K got hit over the head for meals.
Yeah, and it's crazy that a person with that type of platform, how big as Tasha K had. Well, I'm gonna say this because that's from me and my logic and me trying to build my own platform as well. I would want to be as factual based and truthful as possible for a defamation lawsuit potentially. You get what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
the thing is, you would think a Tasha K would have been like on some. Well, I don't want to get too defamation, but at the same time, if you watch her platform and her content, she's got to where she is now for defaming people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's what she built her platform on, and somebody had to, you know,
Yeah,
go test the gangster, man.
yeah,
They had to go see what she was about that life in courtroom.
right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good thing. I think reigning in the media is a great thing. There's several, whether it's right, left, no matter what the subject is, I just think the media is just entirely too powerful now. Like
Yeah, I agree.
there's a lot of opinionated news that is being reported. When I say opinionated, there's little facts sprinkled in here and there, but it's
Yeah,
typically opinion to make you form that opinion.
yeah,
And that's a dangerous way to progress as a society because it digs those two holes that everybody is in right now. They're here in the sand, and then you have media outlets competing online to do stuff for clickbait and not giving you facts or giving you vague facts on a headline so you can click it, and then knowing that most people don't even read the article, they just read the headline. Well, such and such did this. Like, no, that's not entirely what happened. Like,
mhm,
did you read the article? Like, did you see what they were saying? But nobody did. And the reason why I use that as an example, because we just had an article here with regarding Brendan Miller,
mhm,
and they posted an article that he gave the guy the gun.
mhm.
Wasn't even true.
Yeah.
Didn't even touch the gun.
Brandon Miller, tell me about that.
Okay, so Brandon Miller, he plays basketball for the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's probably going to be top 5 draft pick.
Okay.
But he was, I'm not gonna say involved. He was more like a witness to the shooting of that young lady
Oh,
down there with the
bruh.
basketball player.
Yeah, yeah, because the girl that passed away actually stays on my street.
That sucks, man.
Yeah,
I feel so
yeah,
bad. That
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's just a terrible situation.
yeah. I know exactly
But
what you're talking about now.
yeah, so they ran an article saying that he gave the guy the gun, and that was not even remotely true. Like,
Mhm,
and what they do is they sit in there and they cherry pick what testimony officers say and what evidence is presented and try to get the most clicks out of it.
mhm,
And if you're going to be reporting the news, report it as it is. Like, um, so yeah, what really happened was he dropped Mr. Miles off or whatever to go to the club. He tried to go to the club. Line was too long. He left.
Mhm.
He was on his way back anyway to get Mr. Miles. When Miles texted him and he was like, "Hey, can I get my gun out of your car?" Dude didn't even know the gun was in his car.
Mm.
So when he pulled up, I mean, you got to think about this. And I'm not excusing him for anything like that, but this kid is 19 years old. You get caught with a gun, 19 years old in Alabama, you got automatic 5 years.
Mm.
So, he pulled up. Darius Miles goes and gets the gun out the car. He doesn't even touch the car. Doesn't even touch the gun. Doesn't even know where the gun was.
Mhm.
And then that them fools made that idiot decision to shoot that poor girl and to shoot up that car because they couldn't. But now he looks bad,
Right.
and now not only he looks bad, they make the program look bad. And then when you're under that, then everything else is criticized that you do.
I gotta
So
ask a question. I gotta ask you this question. And shout out to West End E Dog. He told me this, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. So when they actually convict people, or just it doesn't matter the race or whatnot, but for this instance it does. But when they convict people and they flash their picture across the screen or on the news or something like that, and like it's typically like let's say a black person, do you think they should do that if they've already convicted somebody? Because do you think it's like putting in people's head that black people do these type of crimes, or like social engineer people to think that black people do these type of crimes, unless they were looking for somebody? Let's say it was a fugitive, somebody was on the run or something like that. Of course you want to put their picture there, but if they've been convicted, do you think they should put their picture on up there?
I'm indifferent about it because I think the public has the the right to know who has done what.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I also understand, your point about the social engineering and the programming that goes into that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my concern is not really the posting of the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
My concern would be the posting of black people pictures versus white people pictures.
Okay.
I mean, we have seen time and time again where a black person is convicted, they'll post a mugshot, and
Mm-hmm.
or when a white person is convicted, they'll post like a family photo. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Yeah.
His mugshot is publicly available, like his.
Yeah, I got you.
Because
Okay, I'm with you
all
on
this
that.
information is publicly available. Um, it's just those programming that puts in the mind of we have to deal with it, but it puts in the mind of everybody else that we're inherently dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
When I think it's the complete opposite. We're
Yeah.
pretty much harmless. I think
Mm-hmm.
the dangerous people are those in the majority right now.
All right.
So, and they're trying to hold on to the majority. So that's why they're even more dangerous as they are now because the shifting demographics in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have a say so here or there. I mean, it doesn't bother me just posting the mugshot, as long as they're consistent with posting the mugshot.
Oh, I got you. I got you. That makes sense. Do you think the media capitalizes on the dumbing down of our society?
Absolutely,
Why you say that?
100%. Um, if you can keep them stupid, you can do whatever you want to. You can
Yeah.
rob. You can rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
So,
I agree 100%. And you would think that we supposed to be so educated, but it seemed like headlines. Well, we know that people's attention spans are falling shorter and shorter, and that's why you have like the rise of social media platforms like TikTok. As soon as you turn it on, boom, video on your face, you scroll and you put yourself scrolling. Damn, I've been on this damn app, an hour, 2 hours just scrolling, the mind numbing stuff that don't even, really benefit my life. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people use social media too as an escape too. You know what I'm saying? To live
mhm.
a different life. And I think that's the rise of VR, virtual reality, AI, all of this stuff that's coming out. A lot of people are using that just to escape their miserable lives or things that they're going through.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna have their own way of dealing with what society is today.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think people are, going to. It's just a matter of time before virtual reality starts to turn into how we are today.
Mm,
You know, ads, things of that nature, TikTok, um, and everybody's guilty of it. I think the first thing we have to do is just admit what it is. I mean,
mhm,
even I don't even post on TikTok, and I be on TikTok, so that should
mhm.
tell you how addicted it can be.
Yeah,
But definitely, social media is very addicting. Whether it's addicting to those who want to post a certain lifestyle, or just those who like to watch, or those who like to read. I mean, I rely on social media for marketing purposes, and I post little jokes here and there. But I try to keep my private life out of social media
right.
for that reason,
Mhm.
because it can become addicting.
Yeah,
The thing that bothers me more than anything is that back in the day, man, we used to party, man. We had a phone. You ain't have your phone out. Now
yeah.
you go out now. Everybody's in their own section. They're quartered off. They got their own phone. They're like, hey,
Yeah,
things. I'm like,
because we became the content now. Like our lives
yeah,
became the content because it's so many. We the same age, so it's so many nights we like, dang, if we had a phone or we recorded this or the stuff that we were saying back in the day, bro. We would have been got canceled. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, council.
bro, like just think about like the stuff that like I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and we was like, you remember we used to be like no homo. Now
Yep.
they stopped. I remember one of the sites put I don't know, you might not remember this, but one of the sites had put an ad out, and she was like, "Don't say that's gay to refer to something that's not cool or something that's bad and stuff like that." Then the no homo went away, and now dudes are saying pause now. So if they say something suspect, but I also think that's social engineering mentally because now every time you think of something that might be kind of gay you say pause, you know what I'm saying? So like you think
Hey,
it in your mind consciously, oh, I might be saying something gay.
yeah. I mean, I would agree. I think we've gone a step far with regards to um, the LGBTQ language community and things of that nature. I feel like the bottom line is we're trying to appease everybody, and then at the end of the day, nobody's going to be pleased.
Right.
Um, I think this is. I mean, what I'm 35, so I grew up using the F word. I mean, as I got
Mm,
older and I mixed and mingled with members of LGBTQ plus community, I stopped saying that word because
mhm,
I understand it's disrespectful to them.
mhm.
Um, no homo. I mean, come on, man. It's like, uh, it's no homo. It's
Yeah,
okay. If look, I mean, at some point you're gonna run out of letter. You're gonna run out of words. You're just gonna be
right. We just gonna
making
be making
faces.
words now, just gonna
Yeah,
expand the
or
lexicon.
sign language. Like everything is gonna offend someone. I mean, and we know the history of what it is with gay people in this country, and we definitely know the history with gay minorities in
Mhm.
this country. They always have it tougher. But um, I would say regarding that topic, I think it needs to be approached. Um, I think right now it's a little bit out of control because there's no policing from the community within.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're letting run wild. I know a guy who's in that community and he polices the hell out of it on Twitter.
Yeah,
He's
I
great.
follow this group Gays Against Groomers on TikTok.
Uh huh.
And it's very, very insightful on a lot of stuff and statistics that they are going over, especially when it comes to like puberty blockers and letting people decide their gender because you're running a slippery slope saying that a Dwayne Wade son at 15, a judge grants him his lets him decide his gender at 15, right? And then the slippery slope you run is if people can decide their gender at a young age, what's to say they can't decide who they want to sleep with at a young age as well?
Yeah, it's a very slippery slope. I'll take it one step further. I think one thing that'll end it all. is that if everybody black in America starts saying they're white, just put white on their applications.
You think gonna end it?
End it all.
Ah, dang. Yeah, that hey,
That'll just you,
that would mess the game up right there.
you know what? I am a white male. Our credit scores would jump. We would get called back. Shorten your name on if your name
Yeah,
DeAndre, call yourself Dennis.
yeah,
You know how you know how these people who want to fit in with the minority will change their name. I mean, to be honest with you, one of them running for president on the Republican side. Changed
what
their
you
name
mean?
to uh her real name is Nimrata Haley, but she goes by Nikki.
Oh,
But yeah, she changed her name to appease white people.
mm,
And but then she goes back and uses her Native American heritage as to qualify herself as a minority. But everything you do is to fit in white society.
yeah,
And like I said, I sometimes I just put I'm a white male. I got a white name. I'll
hmm,
just put it on there just for shits and giggles, man. It's because that's what the point of getting to. Like, how are you gonna tell me I'm not black or
yeah,
or I'm not white?
right,
I mean, I was watching something regarding the trans community, seen several posts about how some people in their community feel that you're anti-trans if you don't date them because they're a trans woman. I'm like, you have a preference, I have a preference. I don't want to I don't want to date a trans woman. I mean,
right,
you should respect that. That's not me hating you or being anti-trans. That's me saying I want to date a cis woman is what it is now. A natural born woman. I mean,
right.
but here's my thing. I think people should have the right to feel and choose whatever gender they want to at a certain point. I can't speak on Dwayne Wade's son issue because I don't have any insight and who knows. But I do know that there are a lot of children who gone through the transition and then end up when they go in adulthood, they kind of regret it. So I hope that doesn't happen to him, and I
Hmm.
hope he made that decision on his own free will, and I hope he's able to live. Well, hope she's able to live with that decision. I'm stop calling calling him he. But I hope she's able to live with that decision. That's the most important thing
Yeah,
because
because they was talking about I've been seeing a lot of videos of detransitioners lately, and they
hmm
was talking about how people who actually transition, the suicide rate is high on those people who actually transition. And
very
it's
high.
yeah, it was like a 40, like 49% or something, like it was like a high number, like by almost 50% of people who transition will commit suicide. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that is crazy. That's scary that we out here acting like there's not a mental illness going on, and not just with those people. There's a lot of people just in society, schizophrenia, narcissism, multiple person syndrome. A lot of people walk around PTSD. This ain't just that community. We have a lot of mental issues going on in our society that people aren't addressing. But especially with that community, they try to act like it's normal, it's cool. We need to be accepting them and stuff like that, and it's like nowhere else in our community, if I was to say I was a bird, nobody was, they would put me in a straight jacket. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's equivalent
Yeah, they
to
used to do that. They used to do that back in the day. So I think it's advancing it's an advancement in medicine, and then you got that combined with people feel they should have the freedom to choose and do what they want to, which I'm 100% for. But like again, you have to understand there's consequences that comes with those actions.
yeah,
I mean, and if you okay with those consequences and you're okay with living a life that you want to live, by all means, go at it. You have my blessing.
yeah,
And if somebody messing with you, I would step up on your behalf as a man eh, of the straight community. Like, but my preferences shouldn't be interpreted as hate towards you.
hmm,
I'm gonna respect you as the person that you are present to be, things of that nature. But you should that doesn't mean that you don't have to respect me and my choices and what my personal preferences are. I think that's what it boils down to. I mean, I think it's a outlier. I mean, it's an outlier of an outlier. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
minority of a minority. You know,
Mhm.
and when you have those things, and now it's becoming commercialized and things of that nature, you're gonna have people who want to bend all the way to the end, to
Yeah.
the most extreme spectrum. But I think, as you know, it would be our job somewhat as a member of the black community to, tackle the issues of black on black crime. It's their job as members of the gay community, queer community, trans community to, police their own, because they're going to see it more likely than us. You
Yeah.
know, that's their circle.
Mhm.
And so, you know, I think as long as you focus it on that, I think it'll be better. But it's so new and raw right now, and everybody has their own opinions, and some people just don't know how to shut up,
Yeah.
aka Bootsy, and Bootsy don't know how to shut up.
Yeah, but
Uh,
I'm indifferent about that too because I feel like well, I'm not indifferent. I'm gonna
you
say
look, you can have that thought in your head. Don't go on social media and say that. Like it's just common sense, man. Because
hold on.
it ain't
It's,
got
it's,
nothing to do with you.
it,
It
it
ain't got nothing to do with you.
it doesn't. But when you put it out there on social media, that give people a place to say something. If you wanted to keep it private, if you don't want nobody to say something, keep it private. If I don't want
I,
nobody to
I
say
mean, I agree with you with what you're saying, posting on social media, but don't you have the right to just sometimes shut the fuck up?
you do.
Like,
It's a lot of people I just be like, damn, they should shut the hell up. You know what I'm saying? And
right?
I agree. But I feel like I said, social media is a place where people live and want to live away from their reality, right? That
Yeah.
and like I said, it doesn't affect a booster what a Dwayne Wade and his family is doing. I agree. But at the same time, when it came to our community and we had gatekeepers, we had a lot of policing in our community. And I
Hmm.
think that we have a lot of feminization of our community too. So
I agree.
if you have that and you have people that want to feminize our community, we have to have people to speak up to say what's going on. But I do agree with they say the right message, the wrong messenger. And I think that's part of the Boosie issue is like you can't be around here talking about you killing and you doing this. You was on trial. You one of your co-defendants was actually caught like 5 or 6 bodies for you. All of this is documented. You just happen to beat your trial and whatnot, and then say you got a problem with Dwayne Wade and his son transitioning, and then now your daughter come out and she's homosexual too. You know what I'm saying? But and like I said, I understand what he was saying. He was like, my thing is don't do it young because he's still young. He need to wait till he's older to be calling himself and saying transition. I agree with that. I agree 100%. Like if you're gonna transition, wait till you 18. Wait till you get older, go through your puberty, all your hormones and stuff to make sure this is exactly what you want to do. Because if you start transitioning and start messing with your hormones or cut your penis off or something like that, it's no coming back from that. You get what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah, I don't know if she actually cut cut her penis off or not. I don't know. I
yeah,
would think that she didn't do it. I think she would probably just start hormone therapy. I don't think they're that drastic at that measure, because I don't think even Bruce Jenner. I don't think Bruce Jenner cut hers off, or Caitlyn Jenner. I forget it, Caitlyn Jenner. So I don't even think that, I think she's still walking around with it. But
no, I'm
I
just
would
saying
say 90. I would say about 75% of his message was spot on.
mhm.
But you don't have to sensationalize it or even go after that. Like, you could just, sometimes it's just better off just mind your business.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
I agree. Like I said, I agree. But then it's better to
because
mind
it's
your
gonna
business.
come back around, and you see it now. It's coming back around. Like, you now he got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Everybody has either know somebody that's gay or know somebody that's a member of that community, and the best thing to do is just respect them for their choice.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. Respect them for their choice, and I agree you shouldn't bully them or pick on them for the choices that they make. But But even the choices that we make, even if I was just a regular kid that decided to go to like an all black school and then decided I was a big anime fan and I was running around the school like Naruto. And if somebody pick on me, that's gonna be because it's outside of the norm, and that's just a lot of times it's not right, but it's human nature. Some things we don't understand or it's outside of the norm. We typically pick on it, bully it, or stay away from it because it's like a defense mechanism. We don't know why this person is acting like this. You get what I'm saying? And like I said,
Yeah,
just going back to that, like I said, the booster topic. I agree. Some people need to be quiet. I think with Boosie, it's the right message, just the wrong messenger. Like I said, you can't be out because then you got to ask yourself, would you rather have a gay son or a gangster son? Would you rather have your son taking Peter Wecker, or would you have your son out here taking lives? Like you gotta like this is a real question you gotta ask yourself now. Like
yeah.
which one is worse?
Um, I mean, I'm not gonna say either one is bad. I mean, one is not. It just depends. Like I think every
It's a hard
situation.
question. It's a hard
I think every
question.
situation depends. Let's be honest with you. Like, if my son were gay, I would be. It'd be tough,
Yeah.
but I do plan on having more kids. Uh,
Now you got
so,
kids?
huh.
You got kids?
Yeah, I got a son.
Okay, how old is he?
He's 6. He'll be 7
Okay,
this year.
okay, okay.
So you know, if he were to be gay, I mean that's just is what it is. But I do plan on having more kids. I think it's more of a preservation of the bloodline for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and breaking generational curse. Not saying that my family was generationally cursed for some crazy reason other than slavery.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's just about setting that curse to the side. I'm not rich,
Yeah.
not poor, but I'm sustainable, so that's a good thing. But I don't know. My son, I don't think he gives off any gay tendencies. I don't think
Hmm.
anything. I think he's just a typical little boy. I think you
Yeah.
should let him venture into what it is that he wants to do, and that implies anything, not just sexuality.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
he's
agree.
too young. He's too young to know about sex right now. If he does, that's another problem.
Yeah.
But
Hey, that's what we don't talk about in our community enough too, because dating, bro, I did not know so many people who were like messed with as kids, bro.
yeah,
I did not know it was this
and
high.
it's not just the black. It's not a black community problem. It's a whole
Yeah,
wide
yeah,
community problem. It's
yeah,
people problem,
yeah,
and you never know when it shows up. So it could show up, out of the blue.
yeah,
But I think that things as parents, you just have to have to understand and know your child,
yeah,
uh, and trust your child, because children do give away some signs.
yeah.
I've unfortunately worked with several kids who have been touched and abused and beaten and
Hmm.
things of that nature by the parents, siblings or uncles. It's sad. I mean, it was sad to work. It was 4 years, and I love the people I met, love the attorneys I worked with, but some of those cases was just tragic, man.
Yeah,
You just have to leave it at the courtroom and go to the bar. Be like, God, like,
yeah.
yeah, I
So
just have to watch this.
have you had a case that like tugged on your heartstrings a lot? Like, dang, I can't believe this person is going through this or enduring this. Have you had one of those?
Yeah, I've had several, man. I've had a kid. I'm not sure if his mom is still alive or not, but she was definitely dying
Hmm.
for the duration of the case. I think she had AIDS. I'm not 100% sure, but she was dying. And dude, kid was smart, man. He's like 16, 17 years old. He wanted to go Jacksonville State, so I gave him my number. Like, look, man, if you really trying to like play ball and do all these things, you need to reach out to me because that's where I graduated from. I don't know too many people there now,
Hmm.
but I still have some kind of connections there and all that. So that was one. Um, I had a case where a kid was unfortunately sexually assaulted as an infant. That was sad.
Mm,
Uh, Multiple times by a family member.
mm.
Uh, yeah, that was a tough one.
Dang, and that's crazy that it be so many people that is their family members. I
Yeah.
like I said, just having kids and just looking at them, just like how could somebody even just think about doing something like that? And then you
It-
start understanding it's just a repetitive cycle. They probably was done the same way when they was kids.
Most
It's
of the time, it is a cycle.
yeah,
And then you do have those times where a person is just a sick individual who deserves to
yeah,
be thrown under the jail.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, most of the time they're just repeating what happened to them.
yeah,
And it sucks that they didn't get nobody would protected them, and then again nobody protected the next person. So
yeah.
yeah, there's a couple of those I've had. Being a public attorney for parents.
Hmm.
Those are usually those are usually ones you like, oh man, like I think after that hearing, I think I cried.
Dang, yeah.
And I'm not even a crier like that. I think I cried after that hearing. I was like, oh God, this is terrible.
Hmm.
But that those are the things that a lot of people looking outside in on our profession don't see.
Hmm.
There's a lot of hidden dangers in being an attorney
Hmm.
that a lot of people don't see. It's a dangerous and a thankless job
Yeah.
um, because especially with family, anything that involves family law. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, those are dangerous cases, man. You got to be careful. I think we had a lawyer here last year who was handling the divorce. The opposing client showed up, shot and killed him, and burned down the law office. Like,
What?
yeah. So he, it's why I've kind of ventured off from family law now. It's just too much. I got too much to live
You're
for.
like the second or third attorney I heard say the same thing. They get out of family law. They say family law is very, very difficult.
Yeah, I mean it has because it's a lot of emotion into it.
Hmm.
Like I got about 4 or 5 more cases left for family law, and then I'm done. Like,
Yeah, you're gonna be done for good.
yeah. So because especially if you're representing like fathers,
Hmm.
because how the system is set up against them, and
Hmm.
there's nothing you can do, and they have to be perfect, and they can't miss. They can't. Anytime they make a mistake, the book is thrown at them, and then you look at the
So
mother.
when in family court, you're saying that it's set up against fathers in family court.
100%. It's
Okay.
set up against it's set up against men, whether it's divorce or custody. I mean,
Hmm. Why you think in divorce? Because I don't I that's why I'm having this conversation with you. From what
yeah.
I've read and seen, when it comes to like divorce, I don't necessarily think it's set up against men, but correct me if I'm wrong, men, I just think it's set up against the person who makes the most money.
Um, you could say that, but
Mhm.
I mean, who makes
Typically,
the most?
men make the most money now.
Yeah. So
Right.
I would say you can say that, but my thing is, I don't care if you make $50,000 or $50 million. You need a
Mhm.
prenup, um,
Okay.
because the problem is what a lot of people don't understand, and what a lot of women have been conditioned to, whether it's in our community or community wide, is that a prenup is a bad thing.
Hmm.
It's not a bad thing.
Hmm.
Look at it this way. Look at it as a will for your marriage. You
Mm.
don't want the state deciding what how your money property goes. So what do? You go create a will.
Hmm.
And so that's the same what a prenup is. Like, it's just you're pretty much removing the state out of it, because then the state has to go by their state laws.
Right.
And those laws are not in favor of men or the rich party. But
So with prenups, are they pretty much ironclad prenups, or does it still go back to like the judge's discretion sometimes?
it depends. Depends
Mhm.
on the circumstances surrounding the prenup.
Okay.
Usually, if you have a prenup, you let her review it or him review it. They review with their lawyer. There's back and forth about what's what, and it's signed. That's usually your ironclad prenup.
Okay.
If it's not ironclad, usually the party will claim they was forced to sign it under duress,
Mhm.
impending wedding date, things of that nature. I know a couple people who have prenups that are attorneys, and I pray that they did it the right way. But yeah, it's pretty much just removing the state out of it. That's all a prenup, postnup, will. I'm in favor of all of that because you don't want the state to decide where your money goes.
Would you ever get married? Are you married?
No, I'm not married.
Would
Would
you
I
ever?
get married? uh, the goal is I want to.
Why you say it like that? You don't see no hope. You don't see no future in you getting married, or women out there. What's up? You in Atlanta, man? It's like it's one like 45 women and one man in Atlanta. Like,
I know.
oh, so that means I got this many options. Why would I settle down with that? That's kind of I know.
No, it's not that, man. Honestly, I don't even date women in Atlanta anymore, man.
Yeah,
I mean, my past few girlfriends have doesn't reside in the state. It's just you get tired of the same rigmarole. I mean,
yeah,
just like women are tired of the same thing. Me as a man, I'm tired of running into the same type of women with different names and different looks.
yeah.
So, I'm like, maybe this city is not for me as far as finding someone to marry. Maybe I need to look outside the city. So
Mm,
that's what I started doing for the past probably 2018, 2019,
mm-hmm.
somewhere around there. Just dating women outside the city, and then I'll just travel or they'll travel here. But yeah, it's an option.
You say you want to have more kids. How many more kids you want to have?
I mean, I'm getting old now. I mean, I'm 35, so like I've always wanted to have six, but
Yeah, probably dead at this point, bro.
I'll settle for two more. Give
Yeah.
me another
Well,
boy
no,
and a
I ain't gonna
girl.
say that because you're a man. You can have kids, hell, till you 60 something. It just depends if you want to run behind them, how old you want to be running behind them. That's the thing.
Yeah, I ain't about to be doing all that, man.
Yeah, that's the
I
only thing.
I've had my fun per se. Uh, so I just be chilling now, man. I've been in Atlanta 7 years. I've pretty much done everything you could possibly do in this city as far as dating scene and festival scenes and all that.
Hmm.
It's just I just be wanting to go home and play video games now, man.
Yeah. So if you can give, we're gonna get out of here. But so if you can give people advice, far as going to court, etiquette, like if we watch the first 48, people still ain't requesting for lawyers. Like what advice would you give to like the everyday man or woman when it comes to court, your taxes, criminal? What would you tell them?
Well, always invoke your rights if you're being arrested. Um, shutting up is the best thing you can do.
Hmm.
Um, be respectful. Um, be respectful to the officer, even if you feel like they're being disrespectful to you. And there's one thing I wanted to make sure I get across. When you get a traffic ticket, sign the ticket. There's a reason why you need to sign the ticket. It's not an admission of guilt. They tell you it's not an admission of guilt. Legally, you are under arrest until you sign that ticket because you are stopped and you can't go anywhere. So, as far as the terms of what is a seizure, you are being seized. Your body is being seized. You can't move. So,
If
whether
you don't
you
sign the ticket, you're seized.
no, you're seized from the beginning. From the moment that they pull you over, you're not free to leave. You're seized.
Okay.
Your signing of the ticket is like an essential bond,
Okay.
essentially a bond.
Okay.
Like, sign the ticket, leave. So many people get arrested for refusing to sign a ticket, and then they want to get a lawyer. I'm like, your fine is $150.
Mhm.
Charge 500 an hour. Like, pay the fine
Mhm.
and move on. So I would say that, and then just know your rights, invoke your rights. If you have to go to court, I would prefer that you dress reasonably.
Mhm.
Don't have pants sagging off. I know every time I went to court for a speeding ticket, I always wore slacks and a button down.
Mhm.
Dress appropriately. Get there early so you won't have a warrant. Please do not come in there smelling like weed or drunk.
Mhm.
Uh, if you know you have a drug offense, don't do drugs before. That's a one-way ticket to jail. Be respectful when you speak to the judge. Have a client right now that's incarcerated simply because he got an attitude with the judge. Yes, yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. State your name. They actually do that. Just go through it and don't cross the bar. But there are. I will say this as being a lawyer of color and a black lawyer. There's a lot of times I go into court and I'm questioned as if I'm an attorney. I'm just like, nah, I just got on a suit, tie, and a briefcase and a book bag and a badge for no reason. Like, what do you think? So there's a lot of implicit bias from the bailiffs of whether who's an attorney and who's not attorney. But if you do those things and you listen to your lawyer and follow your lawyer's advice, you'll be fine. I'm of the opinion that there's no bad lawyers. Your lawyer is only as good as your client.
Mhm.
So when you hear a lot of people say, "Well, my lawyer was terrible," well, did you follow their instructions?
Mm.
Most of the time, no. But yeah, if you're being interrogated, things of that nature, like first 48, just invoke your right of silence. You're going to jail anyway.
Mhm.
If they came and got you, you're going to jail anyway.
Yeah.
So just assume that when you have that heightened tension, when it feels like something outside of a traffic stop and things of that nature. And if you do that, normally your case is very defendable, and there's a little more wiggle room that we can work with, because the thing I hate is I never did this, I never did that, and then you see on tape they're consenting to searching, they're saying this is mine, this is hers, and I'm like, there goes my whole defense.
Yeah.
Like, now I gotta mitigate it. Now I gotta see how much time I can get off of your sentence because you allowed the police to search your vehicle knowing that you had drugs in your vehicle.
So
So
if I get pulled over, I got drugs in my vehicle, and I'm not trying to tell anybody how to get out of it, doing anything illegal. But if I'm pulled over and the police said, "Can I search your vehicle?" and I say no, and they can still search it anyway.
they can, but it would be illegal. Just in that scenario, they if they go ahead and search it without any probable cause,
Mhm.
um, then it's illegal.
So they call
What
the dogs out.
Yeah, so what they'll do is they'll call the dogs. There's actually case law on this. I can't think of the name of the case, but it's very recent.
Mhm.
Police can hold you for what's called a reasonable amount of time.
Mhm.
Usually, like 15, 20 minutes is reasonable for a drug dog to get there to walk around your vehicle and do a sniff. And I think in the case that they decided against the evidence, the person had been there, they held the person for 2 hours so the
Mm.
dog could come and search. They found the drugs, arrested him. They ruled that was an illegal search.
Okay.
So yeah, you you never. I don't care if you got drugs or you don't got drugs. Do not let police search your car.
Okay.
When you do that, you are giving them the right to destroy your car and leave,
Mhm.
because they can literally go and take your. They can. I've seen it happen before where they had somebody on the side of the road. They thought they had drugs. They pulled out the quarter panels of the car, put, tore the car apart. No drugs. Now your car is sitting on the side of the highway.
Mm.
Like your inside of your car is on the outside of your car, and you're stuck with that. So it's just a general rule of thumb: don't allow them to search anything.
Okay.
Ask them if they have a warrant. If they don't have a warrant. Okay, well go get one. Or it's you don't have a warrant. I'm not being detained. Am I free to leave?
So, far as that detain with the drug dogs, is that like a federal thing, or is that just in Georgia?
No, 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 no. This is United States Supreme Court, so it
Okay.
applies nationwide.
Okay. Okay. I just
So,
making sure.
um, yeah, so it's just it's reasonable, but reasonableness is such a broad term. So
Hmm.
you know, I usually say a good rule of thumb is like 15, 25 minutes to
Hmm.
uh to where I feel that it's not excessive. It's not being a excessive stop.
Kathy Davis said people just don't understand that you got to show some respect for the judge. From what I see on the court shows, it's terrible.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. I mean, the judge. Yeah, I would say look at it this way: if you are facing a serious criminal charge or even like a speeding ticket, you can go to jail for a speeding ticket, and you can go to jail for a serious criminal charge. You are at the mercy of the prosecutor and the judge.
Hmm.
So the least thing you could do is be respectful towards those entities because they're going home tonight.
Yeah.
They have the power not to not allow you to go home.
Hmm.
And so if you approach it from that mindset, that usually would cure all the fact that you hate being there, you don't want to be there, and you're mad, you're angry, or if you're pleading and you don't like the fact that you're about to plead to a case because you feel that you may have a chance of winning the case, and then you sit with your lawyer evaluate things like it's not a good case to go to trial.
Yeah.
I think you should take this deal. You may be upset about it, but it's for the judge. Be respectful because 90% of the time the judges don't have that. I'm not gonna say discretion. They don't have that patience as they would with me or you, as they would with Joey. But I will say this: when Georgia won the national championship, I got some great deals on criminal cases. A lot of my cases got dismissed because Georgia won.
What you mean by that?
So I don't know if this study was done here in Georgia, but I went to law school in Louisiana. So they did a
Okay.
study on how harsh were the jail sentences after a LSU win versus an LSU loss.
Okay.
It came back that when LSU won, judges were more than likely to sentence clients or sentence defendants lesser than they was after LSU lost, especially if they lost to Alabama. So I've always carried that with me to Georgia. So I remember what was it, 2018, 2-26.
Hmm.
I had court that next day. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna postpone it because the first thing they said when we walked in, they was like, "Did you see that game last night? Freaking Alabama." Then you look up, the judge graduated from Georgia. I'm like, "Oh God." And like, then they're asking you, they're like, "Well, what team you?" I'm like, "I'm from Alabama, so I root for Alabama." I already know I'm not getting anything done that day, so I'm like, "Can I get a
Uh,
continuance?"
like I say, the judges are human. That's messed up, but they human. You got even that because we didn't see it just regular people get to fight. We didn't see a man go down to Auburn and poison a tree. You feel what I'm saying? So it
Right.
was,
I mean, you have people. I mean, I think somebody got killed one year after Alabama lost.
yeah.
So I mean, just carry that mindset in there. But that's just something that I believe that happens. I don't have the science behind it other than the LSU study. But
Hmm.
here, yeah, like Georgia won a national championship. I was like, yay, I'm a Georgia fan today. For
Yeah.
my clients, what I'm saying, like hey, what we doing today? Oh, you want to dismiss the case? Okay. You
Yeah.
want to just sentence the anger management for 2 felonies? Okay, we're good. Yeah, we'll take that. We'll see you.
So you
We'll see
so
you
you
next
did notice
Monday.
the difference when Georgia won.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely big difference.
Okay.
Both years. So yeah, you just got to play the game. I mean, inside, I'm probably died inside, but because but you just got to play the game,
Yeah.
like because I mean, I'm in a state where Georgia has law school, and then there's Georgia State, but everybody's a Bulldog fan.
Yeah.
So it's just like juries, you got to know your community, know who you playing against, or who you going against,
Yeah.
and how to press those buttons to get a favorable reaction for your client. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Well, you told me something new there. I ain't think about that, but like I said, I always go back with the notion that judges are human, and the jury's human, and everybody in that courtroom human. They have their biases and have good days. The judge might have came to court on a bad day, got to fight with his wife. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
hey, you never know what they're going through when they put that robe on. So if you treat them decently, for the most part, they will treat you decently. If you be a dick, they can be a
Yeah.
dick back and throw you in jail. Like
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna win a pissing contest with the judge. I mean, I've seen it done so many times in court. Whether it's I'm standing there right next to my client or it's someone else. Um, so it just that's the way the cookie crumbles, man. I will say this. I do think we need more people like us that are willing to go down this journey of being a lawyer
Hmm.
and going through the process and passing the bar and doing things like that,
Hmm.
because representation matters, and that's all we need in order to essentially get progress. Like, yeah, I'm a criminal defense attorney, but I do have friends that are prosecutors
Hmm.
that I socialize with, and we talk about cases, and they're not there to try to throw the book at you, but not everybody's like that.
Yeah.
So not everybody understand what it's like being black in the South. Not everybody understand what it's like being a black male, being in a single parent household, or being a being a black person, and being addicted to drugs, and then now it's the fentanyl is the big thing now. So not everybody, you, a lot of people sit down on their ivory towers and look down upon you in those positions. And
Hmm.
then there are some that are good. There are some that do it, that do their job and able to um, have that discretion and have that grace and give people second, sometimes third chances, even though they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
So you just got to you got to know your personnel.
Well, if y'all watching, y'all make sure y'all give us a thumbs up on the YouTube. Make sure y'all share it, subscribe. Um, give us some content y'all want us to discuss. I'm here with Alex, the attorney. I'm gonna let him give his social media handles where y'all can find him at his law firm that he works for. If you need a lawyer or you get, stopped and you decide to let the police search your stuff, I don't know what reason. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, man, we're located in Georgia, so we mainly serve like the metro area as far as criminal defense, as far as traveling court. So pretty much anything, probably from, eh, I would say Cherokee County, which is close to not close to Rome, but it's a county below Rome, to about I've gone as far as Macon. So we pretty much the whole middle area of the state. We're willing to travel to. But my Instagram handle is Alex the Attorney. Our website is cumberlandlawatlanta.com. We have offices located in Charlotte. We have offices located in Raleigh, Los Angeles, and Atlanta. And our main office is in Atlanta. That's near the Brave Stadium, right across from Cumberland Mall. So I am the owner. So most of the time, if you call, you're going to get a call from me from my cell phone. So you will be hearing from me if you call in and need some assistance. But I am only we're only handle criminal stuff in Georgia. But if you have any questions, you can feel free to DM me regarding your case in whatever state you're located in. I can give you some general answers, but I can't give you the exact law.
Thank you for coming through. And this has been long overdue. I've been trying to link with Alex for a minute. We've been missing each other when he came back home. But I want to tell you, thank you for coming. I think people need to hear this and understand, especially our people, about their rights, what they should and shouldn't do with traffic stops, court, how they should present themselves, and understanding. Like I said, when you walk through those courtroom doors, you're in front of someone that's human. So you got to always take that into account. Be respectful. Um, like I said, I think we need to teach more in school about, a law too and what people's rights are and stuff like that. I want to say thank you again. It's the New Normal Podcast. Y'all make sure y'all go follow me on all social media platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. It's the New Normal Podcast, spelled the same way as YouTube, on all my platforms. Y'all make sure y'all go check us out. Thank you again, Alex, and we go.
No problem.